Today, we are diving into something that's, well, a pretty big deal. It's a tool that really changes the game in how we work with AI. We're talking about Claude Cowork, which is Anthropic's big move to turn your AI from just a chatbot into an actual hands-on teammate.
Think about it. For the last few years, AI has been fantastic at giving us ideas, drafting emails, and answering our questions. But what if it could actually, roll up its sleeves and do the work for you, right on your own computer? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack today.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by looking at this major shift from AI assistants to AI agents. Then we'll get properly introduced to Claude Cowork itself, take a peek under the hood at how it works with something called the Agentic loop, and see how it really does become a new kind of teammate. We'll also get into how you can give it special skills, and then wrap up by thinking about what all of this means for the future of work. So, right off the bat, the most important thing to get your head around is this move from an assistant to an agent. And this isn't just some new feature. It's a completely different way of thinking about how we hand off tasks to technology. This slide just nails the difference perfectly. On one hand, you've got conversational AI. It's kind of like a consultant. It gives you a brilliant plan, but you're still the one who has to do all the work. Then you have agentic AI like Cowork, which is more like a junior employee. It takes the plan and actually gets it done for you. This is the leap from being a thought partner to a true work partner. Okay, so let's get specific and talk about the tool itself. What in the world is Claude Cowork, and where does it fit in the whole Claude ecosystem? Put simply, Cowork is a special node you'll find inside the Claude desktop app. And yep, for now, you do need the desktop app. It's built to take your big picture goals, break them down, and then actually carry out all the steps needed to get there right on your machine. This table is super helpful for seeing where Cowork fits. You've got your normal Claude chat for conversations, and then you have Claude Code, which is for deep developer stuff in the terminal. Cowork slots right into that massive gap in the middle. It brings the power of local file access, but lets you use it through the friendly chat interface you already know. The bottom line says it all. Chat shows you how, Cowork gets it done. And the story of how Cowork came to be is pretty cool. It wasn't just some idea cooked up in a lab. Anthropic noticed that developers were using Claude Code for all sorts of general tasks, organizing files, compiling research, and they had a light bulb moment. They realized there was this huge need for these action-oriented skills, but for people who don't live in a command line. So the big question is, how does this all work safely and effectively on your computer? Well, it all comes down to a core process that smartly combines AI autonomy with human supervision. The foundational idea here is the folder as workspace. It's simple, but brilliant. You point Cowork to one single folder on your computer, and that folder becomes its entire universe. It can read, write, and create files inside that folder, but it absolutely cannot see or touch anything else on your system. This is such a critical design choice for both making it easy to use and keeping it secure. And inside that one folder, Cowork runs on what they call this plan, act, check loop. First, it shows you a clear, transparent plan of exactly what it's going to do. Then it gets to work, but it does so inside a secure, sandboxed environment. And here's the crucial part. It checks back with you for approval on key actions, like if it needs to delete a file. This human-in-the-loop design is what makes it a practical tool instead of some risky black box. And there are a few key architectural decisions that make this whole loop incredibly powerful. First, everything runs in an isolated virtual machine for safety. It's basically in its own little digital room. It's also built with persistent context, which means it can handle long, complex tasks without forgetting what it's supposed to be doing. And this is really cool. It can coordinate multiple sub-agents to work on different parts of a project at the same time. And through it all, you have total plan transparency. You always see the blueprint before it starts building.
Okay, that's enough of the theory. Let's get into the fun stuff and see what this new AI teammate can actually pull off in the real world.
So what's with the number 186? Well, that is the number of messy files. We're talking PDFs, screenshots, duplicate downloads, you name it, that Cowork organized in one person's downloads folder in a single command based on just one simple sentence.
And that's just scratching the surface. The common use cases are the kinds of tasks that drive all of us crazy, like turning a folder full of receipt photos into a proper expense spreadsheet, complete with formulas, or taking all your scattered meeting notes and weaving them into a coherent first draft report, or even pulling specific data out of 100 different PDFs into one clean file. These are seriously time-consuming but high-value tasks.
This quote from Antti Annanen just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the mental shift you have to make. You stop being someone who just asks an AI questions. You become an orchestrator who supervises work. You set up the workspace, that folder, and you define the end goal. The AI handles the nitty-gritty. But Cowork isn't just a general-purpose helper. Where it gets really powerful is in its ability to become a specialist for your specific job, and it does that through a system of plugins. I want you to think of plugins like hiring a pre-trained expert for your team. So instead of a generalist assistant, you suddenly have a specialized colleague who already understands the language, the tools, and the typical workflows for roles in finance, marketing, legal, you name it.
And a plugin isn't just some simple add-on. It's a whole package deal. It has the specific skills and instructions coder needs. It gives you easy slash commands for common tasks. It includes secure connectors to tools you already use, like Salesforce or Snowflake, and can even bring in its own specialized subagents to handle the really tricky parts of a job.
And to get this whole ecosystem going, Anthropic has open-sourced an initial set of 11 plugins for major business areas. So right away, you can install a sales plugin to help you prep for calls, a finance plugin to do reconciliations, or even a legal plugin to help triage contracts. So this all sounds pretty incredible, right? But with any new, powerful technology, we've got to read the fine print and understand what it can and can't do today and where it's all headed.
Yeah, it's really important to remember that Cowork is still a research preview. It's a tool that's evolving. Right now, it's desktop only, it doesn't have the central audit logs you'd need for certain regulated industries, and it doesn't remember things from one task to the next. And most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, human oversight is absolutely essential. You are still the manager, and you're ultimately responsible for the actions it takes. And that really brings us to our final thought. Now, this quote is about legal professionals, but honestly, it applies to all of us. Tools like Cowork are pushing us to be more than just users of AI. They're turning us into orchestrators, into designers of these collaborative workspaces where human expertise guides powerful AI execution. The big question we're left with isn't just what can the AI do, but what new roles will we create for ourselves as we learn to manage it?